if you see, for example, that there is where he's explaining over there from the verses is a little different than the situation today. So, for example, it says that if there's, let's say, a hole in the ground, and your friend's donkey falls into the hole in the ground, fell into the hole, and you know that if you don't save this donkey, he's going to die, and your friend's going to lose money. Don't just walk through it and make it like, oh, it's not my donkey, so I don't care. Right. You know, like people sometimes they see, garbage on the floor here in the Beit Knesset, and they just walk like they didn't see the garbage. Why? Because the rabbi can pick it up. No, they don't want to pick it up. They see the girls slaving over bringing food every week, but everybody pretends like they didn't eat. So the girls pick it up, the girls make it, the girls do everything, but the guys just eat like pigs. No one wants to help. Like that. You guys ever hear such a thing? It happens sometimes. So that's called selfish. That's what it's called. So Torah says, don't be selfish. But don't be selfish not with your friend or even with your enemy, someone you don't like. Why don't you like him? Oh, he's a sinner. Oh, this guy's a sinner. This guy, he steals in his business. This guy violates Shabbat. So, I shouldn't help him. No, my friend. If he's a Jew, you have to help him unless he's an idol worshiper. If he's an idol worshiper or he's someone that leads other people astray, then it says, let his donkey die. Let him die too. If he's stuck in a hole, if the idol worshiper is stuck in a hole, let him die. Don't save him. But how do we actually act in the world? We act in the world, but we save them too. Why? If you are a doctor and you get a call on Shabbat that someone is at risk of dying unless you come to the hospital and you save their life with some type of surgery. If it's a Jew, it's a mitzvah for you to go save this guy's life. It's a mitzvah for you to drive in a car on Shabbat to go save somebody's life. Mitzvah. It's not like it's not a sin. It's an actual mitzvah to drive on Shabbat and perform anything to save a Jewish life. But what about if it's not a Jew? What about if it's not a Jew? If you're a doctor, you still have to drive on Shabbat to go save the non-Jew. And the reason why is not because it's a mitzvah to save the non-Jew, but rather it's because if you don't save the non-Jew, then what's going to end up happening is that the non-Jewish doctors are not going to save the Jews. And you're going to indirectly hurt other Jews. Therefore, you go save the non-Jew also. Therefore, you can go save the non-Jew also.
It's not a sin, though.
It's not a sin. No, it's not a sin. No, because you're doing it for the betterment of Am Yisrael. But the point is that in this specific example is that you have to make sure that your judgment of other people, even if they're sinners, is not too heavy and not heavier than God's. You're not allowed to hate the sinner. You have to hate the sin. The Gemara Masechet Brachot has a debate between Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes and his wife Bruya. Bruya was a Talmidah Chachama, very wise woman that knew a lot of Torah, and she saw that her husband, the Gdol Hador, Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, was being insulted and bothered by these avaryanim, these gangsters outside. Every day these little gangster kids will bother him, call him names, all types of things. So they bothered them so much every day, that one day he found himself starting to pray for them to die. And Bruya, before he finished the prayer, because had he finished the prayer, definitely they would die. Bruya, who heard this, stopped him in the middle of the prayer. She says, my dear husband, don't you know that Hashem doesn't want them to die? If he wanted them to die, they would already be dead. Don't you know that you're supposed to hate the sin and not the sinner? Rather than praying for them to die, pray for them to do tshuva. And Rabbi Meir says, Tzadka mimeni, you're right, I should pray for them to do tshuva. He prayed for them to do tshuva, and they ended up doing tshuva. So that means, Rabotai, that if you see a mechalel Shabbat, driving on Shabbat, you see someone that's married to a non-Jew, you see a Jew married to a non-Jew, you see a Jewish guy going to casino gambling, you see a Jewish guy eating pork on Yom Kippur, don't hate him. The sin, of course you should hate the sin. But him itself, his personality, don't hate him per se. Why? He's not, normally speaking, I'm not talking about all the situations. Normally, he's not making the sin because he hates God. Generally speaking, most Jews are dear people, and they're simply sinning because they're ignorant. They're clueless of the law. And even if they know the law, they don't know the consequence of violating the law. So they're eating pork because their belly is of higher value to them than the Torah is. If they're intermarried, that's because their private part is their brain, instead of their brain being their brain. If they're stealing in business, that's because they've turned money into God, which many religious people do also. So don't hate the sinner, hate the sin. Unless the sinner is a machtia rabim. If the sinner leads other people astray, if the sinner makes fun of the Torah, if the sinner leads people to Christianity, or to idolatry, or to atheism, or to Muslims, or Islam, or he leads them away from God altogether for no reason, or he leads them to nightclubs, or he leads them to make all types of crimes against Hashem. He does it like he knows this is a sin. He doesn't care. He leads them astray on purpose. He makes fun of the Torah. He writes things against the rabbis that are tzaddikim. He makes fun of God, things like that. Then he's a machtia rabim. Then he's a mesit. And a person like that, somebody that leads people astray. And a person like that, it is a mitzvah. Again, it's a mitzvah to pray for that person to die. No, it's not true. It's a mitzvah to pray for that person to die. You pray for him to die without even knowing 3 times a day in Amidah. Ala minim ve'ala malshinim lo ti tikva. This is in your Amidah 3 times a day. You pray for such people to die. Why? Because they lead people away from God. Every Jew that prays Amidah, this is part of Amidah. If you're a woman, you pray this once a day. You're a guy, you pray this 3 times a day. Why? Because these people are enemies. So those people, mitzvah to hate them, mitzvah to wish for them to die. But as far as regular, average Jewish guy that is clueless, just doesn't follow the Torah, no. That guy, you pray for him to do tshuva, and BeEzrat HaShem, he will. Hopefully he will. It's sometimes they don't, like my cousin, unfortunately. But nonetheless, it's somebody that you need to help. Again, it's where if you see a person like that violates Shabbat or other things, but not on purpose, not to make God mad and so on, you see his donkey in the hole, go help him. Go help him. Why do you go help him? Because that could potentially be your opening to not only show that you don't hate him, you hate his sins but not him, but also further than that, that could also be a way for you to connect to this person and show him the beauty of Judaism. I know that many times when people learn the beauty of Judaism, the true beauty of Judaism, their entire perspective changes. It's when they actually understand that we have rules for everything, but that's to mankind's benefit, they realize how beautiful Judaism is.